There was a local fisherman that would come to the boatyard pretty much every single day and go fishing. He spoke almost no English.
Merci.
He one day decided to give us some fish as a gift.
Need to gut him real quick. God, you're getting attacked.
So a buttery gray. Before we really get into this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you can see more videos like this one. It's time to reveal the deck that has been epoxied back together. And so in theory, there's just minimal repairs that we need to do in order to make it look as if it was never cut apart.
Seems to be all right. It's a little bit raised here, a little bit raised there, a little bit raised there.
So the idea of repairing it so that it goes unnoticed is not anymore. You build your plan and then you change it as you go, but you have to have some sort of plan for the day, for the next 10 minutes, whatever.
Hey man, it's close, but it's not quite the right color.
I don't think we'll need to paint it. You set your course, things happen, so you adjust course and you keep going.
Anybody watching this that actually knows how to do this, if you know what I'm doing wrong, don't tell me.
It's too late anyway.
Yeah. Definitely should have got stuff without the fiber.
I went to do the same thing with the water tank that I had done with the deck, which was drill holes and fill it with epoxy so that would all bond back together. But unfortunately, the water tank is just too far gone.
That was a real legitimate battle to get this thing off, but you can see by its clear well, it's in pieces.
Man, it also like this smells like wet wood in here.
As you can see, it is delaminated as well. So, looks like we're doing possibly a full water tank rebuild.
You have to have that movement and that momentum in order to even be able to adjust course, because if you're not moving, then you're dying.
How does a rectangular net fit on a hula hoop?
Literally everything in the universe is moving. All the planets are moving, the sun is moving, everything in the universe is in movement. We know this with water. If you leave water stagnant, it spoils, it becomes poison. We're made out of 70+% water. And so if that water stagnates, it poisons us. I was trying to get these carpenters to help me fix the water tank, and instead they came and tore apart part of the boat, said they were gonna fix it, and I never saw them again. That means I have to fix it myself. Apparently that's just a reoccurring motif in my life.
I'll be back.
This job with the water tank is turning out to be a lot more of a job than I expected. So it's all taken apart and grinded. The thing is that the last piece of wood that was in here, that was fiberglass, was underneath here. And so this fiberglass here comes up and around. And since it was underneath, all that matters is if it was watertight between the wood and this piece of fiberglass. But now we're putting the wood on top, and there's a gap between the fiberglass here and this. I went to seal that with Sikaflex, and it just rubs right off. So I cannot depend on that being a watertight seal. So I'm gonna have to fiberglass up and around. Then it doesn't matter if the fiberglass sticks to this, because then it'll be the wood on fiberglass, and I can seal between the fiberglass and the wood. I'll also need to fiberglass the whole piece of wood that's going in here, so then that will be waterproof, and then I'll be able to secure it on. Turned out to be a big job. See how this turns out. Kind of looks like I murdered Shrek, but we'll see what happens. You climbed up the ladder.
Have you been coming up here every night? You can smell the chicken, huh? The thing is, how are you gonna get down? We've been boarded by a yard cat. I said go! There's both of you. They're okay. Oh my goodness, don't fall, but go down. Excuse me. Just feeding the kids. They're ravenous. Here, pregnant cat. Hey, here you go, gray cat. Pregnant cat. It's more than enough to go around. Pregnant cat became no longer pregnant, and then we came across a load of kittens that were like at least a couple weeks old. And so we're like, well, what happened to pregnant cat's kittens? We're like, these aren't them. These are mother cat's kittens because, well, they're suckling at the teat of mother cat. These kittens were so new that they were basically completely blind, so you could sneak up on them as long as you were quiet and moved really slowly. And then if you picked one up, it would kind of freak out for a minute and then just completely give in to being petted. All of them except one ended up dying. But I made progress with pregnant cat, and I can actually pet pregnant cat even though she had slashed my hand. The war on the water in the bilge continues. We finally figured out that the tank was where the water was coming from into the bilge. So we get that dried out, then it starts to rain. And so now there's more water in the bilge. In the absolute worst spot by the mast, which is unreachable. So you have to stick on a rag on a stick it, and then dry it with the heater. 5 weeks dealing with this problem, maybe 6 now. So it's not that wet.
No, that's true. That's the bright side.
So it's just deep in there that it's wet. Growing up, I was told, Dylan, patience is a virtue. And my canned response to that was, yeah, it's a virtue that I don't have. It's just a cliche.
How does that feel? Pretty dry.
Well, then heater it is. There's a spot underneath the head sink, but we don't have any way to get a fan in there. So we've cut apart the wire to this fan. We're basically making an extension cord so that this fan can dry out that spot. Here you go, if you'll plug that in.
We're cooking.
Basic electrics. One of the reasons it's a cliche is because it's true, but I like to think about it as patience is a good strategy. Sometimes the right thing to do is to wait. It appears like it's drying. Almost there. It's not dripping anymore. This is like an acetone type of situation. So we're gonna put this all up in the keel. It should evaporate pretty quick and take out some water with it. For the record, I don't think this actually works. A lot of people think of waiting as a passive activity, but you can wait actively. A hair dryer to go, pink hair dryer to go with my pink gloves. See what happens. Take this off. And it's not, oh, I'm waiting. It's, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the opportune moment. You're not just waiting for something good to happen to you, you're waiting so then I can move forward. Can you see those cracks? I'm so ready to get this boat put back together. The keel seems to be dry, so I'm going to mix up the rest of this epoxy and then put it in the bilge to seal the bilge so that now any water in the bilge doesn't end up in the keel. We got like 4 different spots in the bilge that I want to put it. It's one spot. Round 2. Okay. See what happens. Since we had the time, I painted chain length indicators, and I made them exceptionally big so they don't get missed. And people made fun of me for painting them so big, but not their boat. I removed this cross support for the radio tower because it's just kind of in the way for getting on and off the boat. I was thinking about getting a custom bracket made to attach the radio tower to the davits to secure it all, but I don't actually need that. We've got ropes, I'll just lash it together, and it's sound as ever. I mean, boats used to be made out of lashings, basically. You have to have all that movement and momentum in order to feel alive and in order to be alive, because stagnation leads to death. But I don't want it to come across as if there is no movement, that automatically equals bad, because that's not true. You also need rest and repair. We're going for the first swim of the season. Are you ready, Scavenger Jack?
I have no clue how to use this thing.
Butterfly. We will want to look out for search-ins. If you move too long, that results in exhaustion. And so you have to figure out the balance.
Cannonball!
This process of being quarantined and being forced into a single place for an undetermined amount of time is, in some degree, forced rest. It depends on your perspective on it. You could look at it as like, oh no, we've been forced into stagnation, we can't help it, blah, blah, blah. But there's also other ways to look at it, as an opportunity to get a lot of things done that needed to be done, or an opportunity to get the rest that has been needed. You go all day, you're active, you're burning calories, you're doing this, you're doing that, you work out, you tear down your muscle, you damage your muscle, and then you sleep. And it's during your sleep, it's during that rest that the recovery happens. The pain and the destruction is then healed during a recovery process, which is rest. But it's a balance between movement, rest, while still avoiding stagnation. I brought a liter of paint from Malta to paint the boat, and the area that I was going to paint just kept growing. This is my first time painting the boat, and I was actually like really nervous about it, but I figured, what the hell, let's give it a shot. I've been trying to get somebody else to do it professionally, but they won't do it.
Dylan Magaster boat paint job. Call me. I'm extremely expensive and extremely inexperienced. We'll see what happens. I think that's all the problematic spots. With one coat, to now do the whole thing. Like, you're doing a great job, it looks great. I'm like, I don't know, this is literally the first time I've ever painted a boat.
What's the chance you think it's pity encouragement?
I mean, probably 110.
It's the right amount. It should cover basically the whole boat, but because of overspray and other factors,
we're basically out of paint. Make sure that we get every last drop. You can call me Da Vinci.
and so we gave it a shot, and it turned out mediocre. It was a lesson to be learned, and it needed to be done.